I started so we're recording right now. I started the recording because I was gonna have us like razz on Emily while she was peeing, but then the whole thing
also
got
peeing.
Everybody's peeing. So I mean, I peed. I just didn't get out of my chair.
Always wearing a diaper
because I'm dedicated to my craft. I didn't actually go to the bathroom.
Are you shitting on me?
Oh, hey! Welcome back.
How long have I been listening? You'll never know.
He was attempting to do a bit.
I heard the flush and you leave the bathroom, so I have a pretty good idea how long you've been listening.
I did stop in to say hi to Griff because he was
okay.
cute.
Good entrance to come from the bathroom and say, "Are you shitting on me?"
Well. Okay, so let's fire it up officially now that my sweet hilarious bit was ruined. Welcome. This is the inaugural episode of our podcast, which the working title right now, until we either come up with something better or give up and accept our fate, is Unstoppable Pigeonhole. That's right. Welcome to the first episode of the Unstoppable Pigeonhole
I think
podcast.
it flows better with podcast at the end. The Unstoppable Pigeonhole podcast.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us. So I was thinking about this. Emily and I were having a discussion about this earlier today while we were walking the dogs.
The same qualm with the title that I do.
What? Who has a qualm?
I said, we'll see if you have the same concern. The one concern with the title.
I don't have. No, this is not about a concern about the title.
Okay.
It is that we need, like many a good podcast and news anchorman throughout history. I feel like we need a really solid sign on and sign off to our show. But I don't know what that's going to be, as we don't have we've only just sort of settled on a title. But we can circle back to that in a second. What is your concern? What concern do you have with the name, the Unstoppable Pigeonhole podcast?
It's a funny name, but I also am concerned that people, when hearing it, their first thing is just going to be to think about pigeon buttholes.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's valid. As evidenced by the fact that, so I've been thinking, as I had discussed, I have been thinking about, sign-ons to the podcast. How do we open the podcast every week? What's our sort of like tagline? What's gonna hook them in? What's really gonna jazz everybody up and get them all gassed up for our the listening experience that lays before them?
The ultimate pigeonhole podcast, where we're the pigeons and you're the statues. Gonna get pooped on.
All right. So in this scenario, we are to believe that we are leading our listening audience to the conclusion that the next hour of our podcast experience is akin to being defecated upon, which is maybe not great. But I was gonna say that
uncomfortable with that.
I was gonna say that my everywhere that I keep going is I kept coming back to some variant, and I assume it's because the title includes the word hole, that the only thing that I could come up with was like cramming something into something else, as if we were just going to just
don't know that I'm comfortable with this either.
It's not great, but it does give credence to Russell's concern that calling it the Unstoppable Pigeonhole podcast. I think the hole is the
Unstoppable Pigeon podcast.
The Unstoppable Pigeon is not bad.
Yeah.
The alliteration of the podcast, Unstoppable Pigeon podcast.
Maybe this is just the Unstoppable Pigeon podcast, and we drop the hole for legal and moral reasons.
I hadn't thought of pigeon buttholes until now, but
now it's all I can think of.
That was the first thing I thought of.
Now I can't think of anything but pigeon buttholes.
Because the original title for the listeners,
although it's not. Do pigeons have buttholes, or do they? Do they have?
They have cloacas.
It's cloaca. So realistically, we are anatomically
pigeon cloaca.
Yeah, the
podcast.
Unstoppable. This is welcome to the Cloaca podcast. Cloaca cast. We just this is
could
a
be
weekly,
called the Cloakers.
A weekly a weekly hourly podcast where we give you all the latest up-to-date information and news on cloaca, the cloaca world.
I don't think there's a lot of breaking news. I think we know a lot about cloacas.
Yeah,
and I don't think that news is going anywhere.
The public know about that. That's the thing.
We're
bringing it right to the people.
Okay.
Look, there's this whole big cloaca out here trying to hide the truth from people, even though it's probably readily Googleable. But
yeah.
I lost my train of thought as I took a sip of my water bottle, immediately choked, and then scrambled to mute the microphone before I ruined all of our audio. And now I forgot what I was going to say.
That's actually where Emily peed when she was gone earlier.
Yeah. Gross. Gross.
We're just talking about cloacas and pigeon buttholes, and that's what you draw the line.
That's where I draw the line. That is where I draw the line. I do like it. I like Unstoppable Pigeon drop the hole, as the kids are saying these days, which circles us back
in trouble to with UPS, the UPP,
the Unstoppable Pigeon podcast. And what is it? What I don't know. We need I feel like we need something that we say at the beginning of every episode, like "Hello, welcome to the
welcome to the Unstoppable Pigeon podcast."
Speaking of which, I don't know if we did this. I am Matt, by the way.
I'm Emily.
Russell.
That's right. Welcome to the Unstoppable Pigeon podcast. I'm Matt. This is Emily and Russell, and prepare your ear sockets. See, that's nothing. I don't know. We need a zazzy one-liner, but that I don't think that's anything. So I was hoping we could maybe workshop that here tonight and just let the ideas flow. What do you guys think? What's a good? We need a good intro hook for our episodes.
I don't know yet. I think that we need to just let the podcast mature a little bit and it will come naturally. You're forcing it.
I think much.
Have we dropped the word hole now?
I think so.
Okay.
I'm writing it down so it's official.
I'm just making sure. I'm having an identity crisis.
Okay. So, all right. I think we're all in agreement that the intro should come naturally. So.
Yeah.
Well, we're not. I've just been outvoted. I think we should force it.
That's how you get a whole bunch of bad ideas put on.
Yes, but if you that's the process. You got to plow through the fields. You got to wade through like a mile of waist deep garbage, and eventually you find the discarded.
Welcome to the Unstoppable Pigeon podcast. Join us as we plow through the fields of garbage.
I was going to say, you plow through the fields of garbage, and eventually you find the mint condition, rare Legend of Zelda N64 cartridge with the the manufacturer glitch where Zelda is... What's the actor from... I know this is not his most famous role, but he's the guy who plays the mobster in Daredevil, and he gets both of his knees kicked in backwards. You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, he's dead, though.
Oh, no.
It's too late for him.
Yeah, I forget what his name is. I think it's Michael something. He's dead, I'm pretty sure. I think I want to say Michael Clark Duncan, but I feel like that's wrong.
Well, luckily we have...
The villain in Daredevil?
No, I don't know if he was the villain. You are right. That's who I was thinking of. Was
Michael Clark Duncan. Yeah, he's dead.
Oh, no.
Like a while ago.
Oh, shit. Like 10 years ago almost.
Yeah, 2012.
Oh, no. Well.
R.I.P.
No, I don't
Michael Clark Duncan. This episode
Welcome
of
to
Pigeon,
this
Pigeon
episode of the Unstoppable Pigeon podcast is dedicated to the memory of Michael Clark Duncan.
Whose name we couldn't remember for a good solid few minutes.
But I did know who he was and what he was in. That is not to say that he still could not be digitally brought back to life
of Michael Clark
Duncan. Play the role that some might say he was always born to play, Princess Zelda.
I would go with Idris Elba as Princess Zelda.
That's who I thought you were gonna say.
They also have similar sounding names. You got Idris Elba, Princess Zelda.
Idris Elba plays Ganondorf.
Navi. Plays Navi. I was gonna say Navi. I can't do an Idris Elba impression, or I would have said, "Hey, listen," as Idris Elba.
I was about to do the same thing. I mean, I feel like an Idris Elba impression is just you have a British accent and you try to sound like the world's sexiest man.
Hey, Listen.
Listen. So okay, well,
that's got to be a mod. Somebody will make that.
Sure, I'd play that too. The Legend of Zelda, where Navi is Idris Elba. I'm into it.
Okay, well that weird tangent I think leads well into a segment idea I have.
All right, what do you got?
Which is it's kind of based on something we did on our first test podcast, except now I have a dumb name for it.
You're peeling back the curtain. This is, as far as they know, this is the first time we've taken a whack at this, and not
it's
not the result of failing to record anything listenable.
Okay, then it's not what I just said.
Okay.
Before, this is a segment I like to call Encyclopedia Nerdtanica with Emily.
Encyclopedia Nerdtanica. Okay.
This is a portion of the show where I take a nerd phrase or a name or a character or whatever, something ridiculous, and I ask Emily to define to me what it is.
I feel like that's if this is going to be a recurring bit, I feel like it needs like an intro stinger, which clearly we don't have prepared, as we've only been the only.
Ellie just told you about it now.
And
I came up with the name about 15 minutes ago while we were futzing around.
And this is our first podcast.
Yeah.
And this is the first time we've ever done it. We'll come up with something later. We'll just throw this in as
so I have two examples.
Come naturally.
I have two examples depending on how long the first one takes. We finally get to one. Okay. So,
what are the rules of encyclopedia? Oh, you already told us. I just wasn't paying attention. Go ahead.
I will.
Proceed.
Yeah. So I have two. Depending on how long the first one takes, we'll either do both, or I'll save the other one for a future segment. So, Emily, what is the Kobayashi Maru?
Ooh, that's a good even a toughie.
What are the stakes here? I feel like if this is gonna be a real living, breathing segment that we're gonna do here, I feel like there has to be stakes. Like, if she gets this right, what does she win? And if she gets it wrong, well, I mean, let's be fair. If she gets it wrong, I feel like there should be no consequences,
because I'm likely going to get it wrong.
Right, but I feel like if she gets it right, she should win something, or like there should be some benefit.
I will award Emily Pigeon points for each point she says that I decide is close enough to the actual thing. So if you list, what this might be from or whatever, I will award you a pigeon point.
If you save up your pigeon points, you can trade them in for like one of those troll dolls with the crazy hair, or like a sweet pencil topper.
Those frogs that jump when you press them down.
Scholastic book fair stuff.
All that stuff from like a shitty 90s, early 2000s arcade.
Like I was envisioning more like, did you ever have, when you were in grade school, like your teacher would have
a Scholastic book fair.
There was I don't think it was tied to the Scholastic book fair. There was a thing where it was like, if you like stayed in your seat and weren't a piece of shit as a student, it was
that had to be hard.
I don't know what the
there was also a system that I quickly learned to exploit.
Keep your feet on the ground, don't talk in class or whatever, and you earn points, and then you can like buy garbage. And it was clearly just like a system designed by the teacher to like, please just make these motherfuckers behave for like 30 goddamn minutes.
There was a system like that I very quickly learned to exploit in like 5th grade. The school librarian had a thing. This is when you also we had library class, so like once a week we would go to the library for the library class, which was just like you just did random shit. And she had like a board, and you would get a sticker for every book you read, and if you got however many stickers, you got to pick a prize from the prize thing. But she did like no background checking on if you read these books. So if you were just like, hey, I read, and then listed a title of a book, she'd be like, okay, and then gave you a sticker. So I read a lot of books that I didn't read.
It. I like the idea of pigeon points. My homework, I'm making a note here. My homework is I'm going to gather a prize pool that we can then assign denominations of pigeon points to that can be earned during the course of podcasts. And it will be just stuff that I find in the house. So,
and of course, it'll make absolutely no sense. It'll make no sense if the title of the podcast changes.
Well, I mean...
That's true.
Okay, so to the segment.
Anyway, yeah, it's Kobayashi Maru.
What is the Kobayashi Maru? I can spell it, but I doubt that's going to help.
You know,
it is 2 words.
No, first of all, don't spell it. Second of all, because I know you're 100% disqualified if you Google it over there.
I won't Google it.
So
no,
this
I'll
is
the test. She's in a separate room.
the test podcast that we didn't do. Had we done it, it would have involved us being in the same room, sharing a microphone, so I could stop her from cheating on this question. That is no longer the case, as we are on separate microphones in separate rooms of our house. So she is on the honor system for this one.
I've proven myself an honest person.
Well, I mean, I think we will be able to determine whether you've cheated or not if you remotely get close to the correct answer of this.
So it is funny. Enough time has gone past since you gave me the term initially that I forgot what it was, and I wrote down Toby Tamagotchi.
No, but I like it.
So
that's gonna be our mascot.
I'm gonna need you to spell and repeat that for me.
Okay, it is the Kobayashi.
Okay.
Kobayshi. New word, Maru. Maru. Kobayashi Maru.
Toby Tamagotchi is like a guy from the 90s who like skateboards up to you like, hey.
He wears a lot of headbands.
Yeah, he's got a lot of headbands. He's got a trench coat on. He's like, hey, you want to buy a Tamagotchi? And he's got a trench coat full of Tamagotchis.
He skateboards away. He's like, look out, it's the fuzz.
He will trade to you for Pogs and Crazy Bones, and then when your trade is complete, he does a kickflip and skates off.
I feel like he was... What was that? Oh, Rocket Power. I feel like he would have been friends with, like, the kids from Rocket Power.
Sure.
Isn't that the name of it?
Emily's just stalling for time to think of what the Kobe Maru
is. Nickelodeon show.
What is the Kobayashi Maru? Enlighten us.
So, like, how deep into the world of whatever world this belongs to do you have to be to know this?
I feel like it's pretty surface level.
Yeah.
Like, even people who are not necessarily, like, huge...
fans of this
probably have heard it. I almost used the name of people that are, like, super into this particular franchise, and I was like, oh! Know what this is. This is a pretty, like, almost meme-level term from this thing.
Okay, can I get, like, a country of origin?
Space?
Yeah, space. I didn't know if I wanted to give her that because it helps too much.
That's what I was trying to get at. I feel like this is like a Star Trek thing, maybe.
Go on.
Okay.
Proceed.
So, is this like maybe a vessel?
You tell me.
Kobayashi?
Kobayashi.
Kobayashi.
There's a sh in there. Kobayashi. You have it spelled out.
Maru. It kind of seems like a vessel that you would go into to like rejuvenate yourself.
Okay.
And like maybe
what sort of rejuvenation would you have? Like what would it be its effects?
Where it's like a person. All right, give me a second. A person is okay. You know what this is?
I know what it is. Do you know what it is?
You know what this is? This is the portion of the podcast where people at home are like, "Fuck!"
All right, I'm gonna give you another 30 seconds.
No, I know
finalize
exactly
your
what
answers.
this is. I don't need the 30 seconds.
Okay, final answers.
When you have like an elite captain or whatever of like some spaceship in the Star Trek universe, and they're getting ready to like pass, they go into the Kobayashi Maru.
Pass what? Wait, what? Like die?
Yeah.
Is this some sort of like an ice? This is like an ice float scenario you're devising here? Okay.
Yeah. And so they were
retirement. You get put into the Kobayashi Maru and just launched into space.
Like
this is regeneration. He said.
They don't want to like completely lose them. So like I think that it like separates the mind from the body, so that like the mind can be then absorbed by like the next person in charge.
Interesting.
That's what I'm gonna go with.
Final answer.
First of all,
I will
before
now.
she-
I'll tell you. I will tell you how many points I award you.
I would watch that show.
Yes,
Like she's
may-
pitched
that's
an
arguably-
amazing sci-fi concept.
Arguably more interesting than what it actually is.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I will award you 3 pigeon points.
Ooh,
Okay.
3
Out of
pigeon points.
how many could I have gotten?
Just as many things as you got that I could right or close.
Let's
Okay.
not like put too close of a microscope on the
Yeah.
concept of pigeon points and their
Okay.
intrinsic value. That
So-
way lies madness, I think.
The Kobayashi Maru, also known as the unwinnable scenario,
Oh.
is a scenario in which all you are correct. It is from Star Trek.
Okay.
All captains, as well as bridge crew officers and everything, it's a simulation in which they take. It's like the final class like thing you have to pass when you're at the Starfleet Academy. And the Kobayashi Maru is a scenario. It's the unwinnable scenario. And I will give you points because the Kobayashi Maru is a vessel.
Mm.
It is you
What's
go
the
into
name
the
of the
scenario, and you come across the Kobayashi Maru, and they are in distress, and then you have to try and save the Kobayashi Maru, but it is unwinnable because when you try and save them, a bunch of enemy ships show up, destroy the Kobayashi Maru and your own ship, and it's designed to see how well commanding officers handle under the hardest of pressures.
Gotcha.
So I award you 3 points because it is from Star Trek. It
Okay.
was a vessel, and it is something that captains go into,
Okay.
or pre-captains. So those are the 3 points.
Got far closer than I expected to. So.
You know what? I was pretty impressed that she got.
I feel like when we said space, it gave it away that it
Well,
it
yeah,
probably
I
wasn't
mean-
Star
What
Wars.
gave it away is that Matt said there's a term for the people who follow this,
Yeah,
and
we helped
I
a little
don't
too
know
much.
any. I don't know. I don't.
Oh, did I
know
like?
their
Did I
sci-fi.
give away Trekkies to you without actually saying it?
Yeah, 'cause
Oh,
I'm like
shit.
I was trying to think of like universes that have like people that follow them and like what they're called, and it just made me think of Star Trek because I was like, I know that they have names.
Do Star Wars fans have their own version of that? Not really, right?
No, I don't think so.
They don't really have a name that I can think
Yeah.
of.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure Star Trek people are Trekkies or Trekkers or something.
They're definitely Trekkies.
Yes.
This is where we get like angry tweets where the Star Wars fans are like, "Nah, we're called
Good thing you said
Galactic
Star Wars.
Republicans,
Yeah.
fair, you fuck."
No, as a major Star Wars fan, I don't think they have a name.
Okay.
Okay, well.
Okay, so
all right,
I'll save that took a
Emily-
while. I'll save the second one for a future date.
Okay, well I've made a note of Emily's 3 pigeon points to be determined.
Did you also make a note of Tony Yamagaki or whatever?
I did write Toby
And-
Tamagotchi down
Yeah.
as a prospective title for
And the-
this week's
and the
episode.
Rejuvenation.
Pigeon Podcast number 1,
The
Toby Tamagotchi.
Rejuvenation.
How about a game that I came up with? How do you feel about that?
Okay.
All right.
But okay.
What?
You said, "How do you feel about that?" I said, "I don't." But go
Oh,
ahead.
All right. Well,
I don't feel.
I'm sorry that you're dead inside. We're gonna play this fucking game anyway. So
I'm
strap
not- I
in.
want less points.
I do not have a name for this, so maybe we can workshop a name for this at a later date. But essentially, this is a little game that I came up with, a bit that I came up with, where I have scoured the internet far and wide, doing a deep dive of the most obscure corners of the internet, and by that I mean like 3 Google searches. And I have pulled headlines from all across the internet which are fake sounding.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to say.
Okay.
This is pretty much the same idea as one of the ideas I had.
Well, fuck you. I did mine first. Eat it.
I have names, and also
Okay.
this is probably a segment that we then, if we do this in the future, all 3 of us can come up with examples. So I'll give you my working titles, and then we
Okay,
can go
what are your
from
working titles?
there. The working titles were Dark Web Dive or The Tangled Web I Weave.
I like that. I like that.
I feel like
I
I
to me,
honestly
the whole
feel
title
like
is
I feel
the
like
whole
those
title
are
is Dark Web Dive or The Tangled Web I Weave. That's the whole title.
I feel like those are too good for this bit.
Well, I have some
that
backups.
I do like
by
them.
weave though, because that kind of hits it in 2 points.
We'll keep thinking about it.
So you give us your stuff, and then I'll
well,
give you
here's
some
okay.
of the stuff
So
I
this
found.
is let me go through my idea for this game for you. So what I have done is I have scoured the internet far and wide, searching across the land. I was gonna do a thing there where I launched into the Pokemon theme song lyrics, and then I forgot what they were. So could have just skated past it and not sound like an idiot, but there it is. Anyway, I have scoured the internet. I have found some headlines that are absolutely real and attached to actual news stories that exist. And then I have made up my own fake news article headlines. And we will do this. I have 3 rounds prepared. And I will read you 3 headlines. One of them is a real headline of a real article that I found on the internet. The other 2 are fake headlines that I made up.
Only one of them is real.
Only one of them will be real, and it will be
Okay.
your guys' job to guess what the real headline is.
Okay.
And I suppose that if you guess correctly, you get a
earn
pigeon
pigeon
point.
points? Yes. I have never wanted to win something that I just made up 10 minutes ago more than right now.
So I have 3 rounds prepared. We'll go each round. You guys can make your guesses, and then when you've made your guesses and we reveal what the real article is, I will read the blurb from the real article, and we can discuss at great length.
Okay.
Okay. Are you ready?
Mhm.
Okay. The first round of headlines. Number 1. Oh, I should say. So, I tried to sort of I tried to make them thematic. So, whatever sort of the theme of the real headline is, my fake headlines are like thematically similar. So when I start reading these, you'll see that there is like a theme to them. So the first group of headlines. First headline: Florida couple arrested with kiddie pool full of snakes. Second headline: Florida man jailed after attempting to pay stranger to assassinate neighbor's loud cats. Third one: Florida neighborhood taken over by loud, messy peacocks.
Okay, I know
Two
which
of those-
one's fake.
2 of those are fake, 1 of them is real. You may submit your votes now.
Are Russell and I supposed to discuss it and come to a consensus together?
Well,
or
it
do we
wouldn't
just
be
go-
we're
very.
competing.
It would
We're
not be a
competing.
very. Okay, yes, but it would not be a very interesting listening experience if you were not going to discuss and figure out. But yes, you are competing. There is no rule that says you can't pick the same one.
Oh, okay.
But
Okay.
you are competing.
All definitely sound like real Florida articles that I could have scrolled
Well, I know
past
for
on
a
Facebook.
fact 3 has to be true because I know peacocks have taken over parts of Florida.
That kind
and-
of took the wind out of this whole thing.
Well, this has been news
maybe-
headlines. We'll see you next week.
Maybe you shouldn't have brought animal headlines to a person who.
Listen, I'm not confirming or denying the trueness of any of these, as they all deal with animals and they all deal with Florida.
See, the thing is, yeah, the first one, the pool full of snakes. What's illegal about a pool full
Well,
of snakes?
yeah, that's the other thing. I think one.
You'd have to read further into the article to find out. So that's a good ass article headline, isn't it? Because you read that and you're like, huh, kiddie pool full of snakes. I'm interested on many fronts by this. Is it a kid? Why do they
that
have a
sounds
kiddie
like
pool
the
of snakes?
words-
Why is it
It
illegal?
sounds like they were
Sounds like the
arrested.
words of a man trying to cover for.
Listen, I
throw
have
us off the tent.
I've got no pool full of snakes in this race. The purpose is entertainment, and the stakes are points that have no value and mean nothing. So.
Okay, so I think we agree that it's the peacock one, and we move on.
No, the
Okay.
peacock is true.
That's what we have to pick. We have to pick the true one.
Yeah, 2 of them are fake. 2 of them
oh.
I made up, and 1 of them is real. So
Gotcha.
you guys are both voting for Florida neighborhood taken over by loud, messy peacocks.
Yes.
Okay, well then I can reveal to you that the actual real article is, in fact, Florida neighborhood taken over by messy peacocks. You both get a point.
Oh, yeah.
1 pigeon point for both Russell and Emily. So I'm gonna.
To be fair, even before Emily said she definitely knew, I was feeling the peacock one.
Okay.
Anyway.
So let me. This article brought to you by UPI.com. I don't know what UPI stands for, so cool. Florida neighborhood taken over by loud, messy peacocks. Feel free to jump in and comment as you see fit. I'll read you through this the excerpt from this article. As of May 15th, residents of a Florida neighborhood are complaining about a loud, messy flock of peacocks that has taken up residence in the area.
I assume by messy they mean just shitting all over the place.
Well, I mean, yeah. It's not like they're like they've rolled in.
They're throwing keggers.
Yeah, they're like throwing keggers. They've brought their like mobile homes, and they're just making an absolute mess of the like the town rec center.
And just catcalling all the peahens that walk by.
Residents of Hillside Terrace, the Hillside Terrace area of Brandon, which I guess is a town in Florida, said a pair of
Brandon
peacocks,
is the name of the guy who was like, there's a lot of them peacocks out here.
Residents of Brandon said that a pair of peacocks moved into the neighborhood several years ago, and the flock has since grown to more than 50 birds. So, well, I mean, what I'm seeing here is that this is essentially the peacock version of what is currently happening where you live, Russell. As our parents have had a pair of condors move into their barn. Vultures move into their barn about a year ago, and they now have a truly nightmare-inducing, like the birds type situation.
Yeah, and you didn't even see it like when it was real bad. You saw it when the flock, most of the flock has left. There was like 100+ birds that just sat out on the lawn.
Well, I don't know if
big ugly bastards.
You can tell me if this strikes a little too close to home. Then, as the article continues, the peacocks are currently in their mating season, which residents said involves noise keeping them up all night and increased messes outside their homes.
Luckily, the black vultures don't really make noise.
Yeah.
What kind of noise? So this is like peacock banging sounds are keeping up the Floridians
in
this town.
Loud in general, I think.
Yeah, I've also.
Do you want me to try and pull one up?
I've never seen more than one peacock at a time. I thought they were very much like territorial and didn't like a whole bunch of other peacocks around.
Apparently not.
When we visited Jacksonville, and I visited my friend in Jacksonville, Florida, she drove me past this neighborhood where literally there was this abandoned home, and there were just peacocks everywhere. It was insane.
Well, apparently in this town, the peacocks are having orgies that are keeping these people up, and then just like shooting peacock loads all over everything.
Great.
Some neighbors said they have had to evict peacocks from inside their homes. The peacocks have learned to operate doors and window latches, apparently, in this Florida home. Can you imagine, like, you wake up in the morning and there's just like,
oh my God,
like a peacock has like made coffee and is watching
Fox News?
Like, yeah, watching Fox News on your couch.
And you're like, it's bad enough that you broke into my house, but it's worse that you're watching Fox News. You should at least be watching NBC, but
Oh, hey. Hillsborough County officials said that the peacocks aren't regulated as pets because no one has claimed ownership of them. But the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission has said the birds also aren't considered wildlife, so the agency doesn't have jurisdiction. So there's just a town being absolutely overrun by peacocks, and everybody in that situation is like, whose problem are these peacocks? I don't know what to do about them. Nobody knows how to handle these peacocks. Nobody.
Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna run a quick little scenario.
Okay.
Matt, you were gonna be a concerned citizen calling the wildlife preservation.
Okay.
About your peacock problem, and I will be the wildlife preservation. So you start off with a phone call.
All right. Boop, 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 boop. Boop, 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 boop.
Hello, Wildlife
It
Preservation.
hasn't rung yet.
Oh.
Bring, 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 bring.
Hello,
Bring,
Florida
bring.
Wildlife Protection Service.
Peacocks everywhere! Ah, they're in my house! Ah, what do I do?
Okay, sir.
They're shitting all over the place!
I want you to know that I understand you, and there's nothing we can do about it. Fuck off. Click. And scene.
Hey, all right. Okay, well, that's round one. Okay, are you guys ready for the next round?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 1. Restaurant using blow-up dolls to enforce social distancing. Restaurant with unique approach to no-contact delivery trains Chuck, the delivery dog. And local eatery closed for health code violation after hosting immunization night, where guests encouraged to cough on each other and share cutlery.
I feel like that's the true one.
I don't know how.
Confused.
I don't know how blow-up dolls would help work.
Do you need to?
with
If you
social
need to hear them
distancing.
again, I can read them to you again.
No, I think we're good. I'm good.
That wasn't a family establishment, I guess, if they were doing that.
Yeah, I don't know how the blow-up doll helps. Like, are blow-up
can't-
dolls standardly like 6 feet long? So you just place
I don't
them
know.
like vertically?
I don't know. I will remind you as we go into this. The rule that I have I say remind you, but it's a rule I just decided on right now. The winner at the end of this is the only one who will be receiving any pigeon points. So you guys can't just tie to discourage you just voting for the same thing every time.
So it was blow-up dolls, immunization night.
Restaurant uses blow-up dolls to enforce social distancing. Restaurant with a unique approach to no-contact delivery trains Chuck, the delivery dog. And local eatery closed for health code violations after hosting immunization night, where guests encouraged to cough on each other and share cutlery.
Okay.
I feel like that's the true one.
I also feel like that's the true one, but for the sake of the game, I will go with Chuck, the delivery dog.
So
The only
Russell,
reason I don't think I don't think that one's true because I think the dog would eat the food.
so Russell, you are voting for Chuck, the delivery dog, being the real one.
Yeah, though I really think it's the other one.
Yeah.
And Emily, you are voting for local eatery closed for health code violations.
I
After
feel like we
hosting
should be able to vote for the same one.
I mean, you can. There's no reason you can't. I'm just telling you.
I think it only matters on a tiebreaker vote.
It will
Like,
only
if we
matter if
voted-
there's a tiebreaker.
Well, I already have a 3-point pigeon point.
No, the
lead.
pigeons, they don't carry over. It's just you amass pigeon points.
You have mass vision points. Okay, well then I will tell you. No points are awarded this round. You are both
Ooh.
incorrect. Restaurant
Wow.
using blow-up dolls to enforce social distancing
Oh,
is
that was
a
the one
real
I was
headline.
sure. That was the one I'm sure
Really?
it definitely wasn't.
So
Yeah.
before I even read this, I will say to you that the like photograph accompanying this article online is like nightmare fuel if you fed it a bunch of Red Bull, and it's like a blow-up doll that they have dressed in clothing and put like an ill-fitting wig and like a human man face mask on.
So I shouldn't look it up, is what you're saying.
I mean, you can come look at it in my office after we're done recording if you really want to see it. But as of May 14th, a South Carolina restaurant, of course it was in South Carolina, partially reopening for dine-in customers, is keeping the tables compliant with social distancing guidelines by filling the dining room with blow-up dolls. The open Hearth restaurant. Maybe I shouldn't have read that. The Open Hearth restaurant in Taylor's closed its dining room due to the COVID-19 pandemic on March 17th, and was allowed to reopen this week. Closed due to the COVID-19 pandemic on March 17th, and was allowed to reopen this week at reduced capacity and a requirement that customers are seated 6 feet apart. The owners of the eatery, Paula Starr Melahays and her husband Jimmy, said that they didn't want the restaurant to look empty when customers came in to eat.
Oh,
So,
weird tactic.
instead of using scary yellow tape or roping off the empty tables, this is a quote, by the way, I thought, we're going to make this restaurant look full, Melahays told WYFF TV. Melahays said she ordered the quote, G-rated kind of inflatable dolls from Amazon. Dress them up. So I mean, that's good at least that they're not like.
G-rated.
Well, yeah. I mean, you don't want to fill your restaurants with a bunch of like dolls that have orifices for people to like put their genitals into. That's bad. Like bad customer service. That's
poor taste.
poor taste.
That's advertising to the wrong type of clientele.
Yeah.
My grandson told me they looked kind of creepy, Melahese said. Your grandson is right.
It's correct.
But I think when people walk in, they're gonna laugh. Melahese said the restaurant is being careful to observe all of the state's guidelines to remain open to customers. We're doing everything we can to make sure we do this right, Melahese said. We just didn't want the virus to be what shuts us down. Okay, good on you for doing the right thing and keeping your business open while doing everything you can to protect people. That's good job. But come on. Really?
I will say
That's-
I'm glad that the pandemic didn't close down your restaurant, but I will say that I hope that the blow-up dolls
I
do.
hope that the blow-up dolls do.
Oh, that is not nice.
Let's see. As of May 8th, they are open. They have 4.7 out of 5 stars, based on the opinion of 184 people.
That's pretty good.
I'm just scrolling through some Facebook comments real quick. I have found the Facebook post about the blow-up dolls. Let's see what we got here. We have a post from the Open Hearth saying, exciting reopening. The Open Hearth has gone international. Okay.
International? How?
I don't
Put their logo
know.
on sex dolls, and they're selling that.
Oh, I see. They've gone international in the sense that a whole bunch of news organizations have written articles about the fact that they've put fucking sex dolls in their booths at their restaurant.
Are they just like inflatable dolls, or are they actually?
They have put them. They have dressed them up. They have.
Holes.
There's no. There does not appear to be any visible places for you to penetrate these dolls with your particular genitalia.
With your parts.
With your parts. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of encouraging comments from people on these blow-up dolls.
Let's move on to the next one, and
I'm just trying to have my faith in humanity restored by finding the one person with the bravery to come on these people's Facebook post and write like, "What, you fucking monsters? What's wrong with you? Stop it!" All right. Well, I guess it seems I'm destined to be disappointed. All right, let's go to the third and final set of questions. Alrighty, here we go.
I think Matt gets a pigeon point for that.
I get a pigeon point because I fooled you.
Yeah.
point.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I have one. Alrighty. So this is the third and final round of.
Okay.
I was really hoping like a.
You lose, you lose.
Oh shit! There it is. I'm gonna
I
write
told
that
you,
down.
Spontaneity. In the
There it
moment.
goes. Yeah.
You
See,
lose.
that was where I was hoping one would come to me, but perfect. So the third and final round of you lose, you lose.
Let it come naturally.
Yep. All right. You lose. You lose. You lose. So as of going into the final round, we are tied at 1 point apiece. Russell has one and Emily have one for the first round, and I have one for fooling you on the second. So this is anyone's game to win. And if anybody walks away, so if I fool both of you guys, I walk away with the points. If you guys manage to get it, you walk away with the points. But it can be only one winner.
You have to pick separate answers.
You have to pick separate answers. Or you can just decide that you don't give a shit about the points, and then
Okay.
what am I going to do, right? Like, I have no power in this situation. Charity seeks volunteers to walk on Lego bricks. Charity seeks volunteers to create hot coal walks in their backyards and film it. Charity under criticism after clerical error causes funds to be squandered on awareness-branded ball gags.
What?
I will reread any of these if you need.
A ball gag just says awareness on it.
I don't know how that would even happen.
Okay, so I think people want, like, wanting people to walk on hot coals is probably too much of like a lawsuit hazard that
Right.
people wouldn't do.
I don't think any charity would do that. I feel like the
Unless
Legos.
it's like the charity for
Burnt
people
feet?
with burnt feet. Burnt foot awareness.
What was the Lego one again?
Charity seeks volunteers to walk on Legos. Oh, on Lego bricks.
I think it, like, that one, but, like, I don't know why would you raise money by having people walk on Lego bricks? Like, how would you raise money
We
that
do
way?
a lot of stuff like, if you give us X amount of money, I'll do this and stuff like that. There's a lot of things like that.
So you think, like, people within the charity are the ones walking on Legos?
They're looking for volunteers to do it.
Because they don't want to do it themselves. Because
Yeah.
they're like, well, we're not fucking doing this.
Okay,
I guess
I have my decision.
I don't like any of them.
One of them is real.
I'm gonna go with the ball gag one being real.
Okay.
Because it's too weirdly specific.
For some reason, I feel like that is the real one because I don't see how they would raise money by the Lego thing, and no charity would like. That's just like too much of a liability with the.
You can vote for the same one if your
No,
best
I
bet
think
is
I'm
to
gonna
keep
go with
Russell from getting
number
pigeon
one.
points.
Yeah,
So
I
you say-
was.
Go with
So
number one.
Russell says ball gags. You say Lego bricks.
Yeah.
Okay. The real headline. Charity seeks volunteers to walk on Lego bricks. Emily,
Okay.
the winner of tonight's edition of
Yeah, I thought that's what it was gonna be.
You lose, you lose.
I thought that. Yeah. That was my
Why-
first
I
instinct.
just want to know, like, why and how did you come up
I
with the
will
last
read.
one?
What?
You created the last one by yourself?
So the article, Charity seeks volunteers to walk on Lego bricks. A British charity is seeking volunteers willing to walk barefoot over Lego bricks to raise money for children with disabilities. Caldwell Children, a charity providing practical and emotional support to children with disabilities and their families, said it's seeking volunteers to participate from their own homes in the May 31 Lego Walk. The charity teamed up with group UK Firewalks to create pre-recorded instructional videos to show the volunteers how to safely walk across a pile of Lego bricks. Nearly everybody has had the experience of standing on a little plastic block of Lego, and it can really hurt, said Katie McMahon of Caldwell Children. So we've enlisted the support of UK Firewalks, experts in creating mind-over-matter experiences where people can use their willpower to overcome physical obstacles to create a, and I am reading this as it is written, rebriculous fun events for all the family.
Oh my god.
The event is
Well,
expected to
that's
be
fun.
Yeah, the event is expected to be live streamed on Caldwell Children's website, and a private Facebook group will be created for the participant to share tips and cheer one another on, McMahon said. So to answer your previous questions of how does walking on Lego bricks raise money, the answer is we have no idea. That is not elaborated on or seems to have been considered in any way, shape, or form.
How
with
does
this
anything
event.
raise any money?
I don't know. I like the idea, however, that they enlisted these UK Firewalks people to like come up with this Lego bricks challenge to, I would assume, and granted I'm not an expert in either of these things, but I would assume that coal walking and walking across Lego bricks are not like skill sets that are equally related to one another. So I like to imagine that there are like some people who work for this UK Firewalks company that like they've had to develop the skill set of walking across Legos for this charity purpose. So there is somewhere in the United Kingdoms right now, there's like at least 3 or 4 people who are currently in the hospital. I can only assume like in those like old-timey iron lung machines, because they walked on Legos before they really figured out the true
Art.
the true art to it, and have somehow like damaged their human bodies beyond the means of modern science
Yeah, they
to
pinched
repair.
the wrong foot. They pinched the wrong foot nerve, and it all just collapsed.
So that was the accurate one. So I believe, what was it, Emily is the
I
victor
am
of this week's
rolling in the
episode
pigeon
of
points.
You News, You Lose. So Emily, another 3 pigeon points for Emily, as she takes them all.
I'm just such a lucky gal.
Alrighty, so that is the end of You News, You Lose.
Want to go into one of Emily's segments or go into the one that I mentioned was similar to
Oh, I
yours?
see. Well, you and I have each done one, right? So I think it's time for an Emily segment.
Right, well, before we wrap things up, some poor soul on the internet is looking for advice. So
Okay.
let's see if we can get some guy advice in here to help this poor soul out.
So do you have a name for this bit?
This is guy advice.
Guy advice.
Just
Guy
simply we
advice.
need some-
Nice.
Guys? Okay. All right, Guy.
I'm gonna say something, and it's definitely something that should be cut. But when Emily said, well, they're looking for some advice, and the first thing that popped into my head was just, and that was.
Oh my God.
So that'll get cut.
Gotta
But I had
edit
to say
that
it.
out.
Yeah.
No, let's talk about it more so that it's just more integral to the recording here and make it more difficult to cut. Proceed. Guy advice. So,
Alright, so
what is?
Nice.
Can you paint a picture for me? What is this bit about? What is the premise of this segment that you have designed for us tonight?
I have found some just advice questions that I feel like you two would shed some light on, in a unique way. Or sometimes it could be like relationship advice, maybe not necessarily. In this case for tonight, it's going to be relationship advice. So someone went to a professional online to ask.
Wait. To pause, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
They went to a professional what?
A professional advice giver.
Bullshit artist. Okay.
I believe it is a credentialed therapist.
Okay,
that
let me be clear. That
Like a
the way
life
that-
coach?
The way that you introed this segment, in that you're like, this person's looking for a relationship advice, and then immediately this person went to a professional. I was like, oh shit, we got a prostitute question right off the bat. First segment, we're going to prostitutes. Okay,
Oh my God.
proceed.
I don't know why your mind went there, but no, this is just relationship. I was looking at like relationship columns and stuff like that, and then I would pick out questions that I feel like the professionals obviously answered, but I feel like you could give an unqualified, unique take on it.
I resent the fact that you would call our perspective unqualified, but proceed.
I think legally we have to say we're unqualified.
Oh yeah, that's probably true.
Okay, so are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, Matthew?
Wait, hang on. Okay, I adjusted my position in my seat to maximize
Say.
the flow of my advice chi from my third chakra. I don't know. Continue.
We'll say
Okay.
that as
That's nothing.
as
There's nothing there.
two men,
Yes.
two young-ish white men, one currently married and one recovering from 3 failed marriages. One who is not married
Yeah.
nor in no sort of current relationship. You get the two extremes of the
Yeah.
coin. So
All right.
I would like to provide the never mind. That was gonna be insensitive for 2020. What I was about to say. Proceed.
Okay, we're above that.
Yeah.
I've been dating a smart, funny, engaging, and fun woman for 2 months and just discovered that she's an anti-vaxxer. I'm having a hard time coming to terms with this, but it doesn't personally affect me in a way that I could use to justify no longer seeing her. It's a massive turnoff, but it seems like an odd reason to stop seeing someone. Thoughts?
How long? 2 months, he said?
2 months. But she's smart, she's funny, she's
Well,
engaging, and
she's
she's
smart.
fun.
Here's the thing. He said she's smart, and then he immediately said she's an anti-vaxxer,
anti-vaxxer.
which does undo the previous statement.
everything.
That's true. They never said it was a man. We are progressive. We shouldn't
I
be
suppose
assuming.
that's true.
Do you know the answer? If it's a man or a woman? Do you have that information?
I don't have that information.
Oh,
It
okay.
was anonymous.
Okay, that's true. It does not, strictly speaking, matter. So this person has been dating somebody for 2 months and has discovered that they're an anti-vaxxer. Interesting.
I
And so
don't think it's cause for immediate breakup, but if things start to turn serious, that's where
Yeah.
your issue is.
Can
Like if you're like, oh,
you
it's a couple months, we're just having fun. If like, yeah,
can
Yeah.
you slip? Can you like start slipping into conversations like sort of fun, casual allusions to the benefits of vaccines? Like you're out on a date. This is still the new portion of your relationship, so you're out at like Applebee's or whatever for 2 for $20 appetizers and $1 margaritas or
it's
whatever
not
they
even
have.
that anymore. They've raised it. It's 2 for $24 now. Those crook
Those
bastards.
Oh, wow.
those fuck bastard piece of shits.
I'm glad I'm done with that stage.
Fuck
of
you,
my life.
Applebee's. We're coming for you. Coming for
No,
you.
it's
Leave me business.
it's Chili's. It's now 2 for 24.
Oh well.
Sorry.
So anyway, irrelevant to the point here. So like,
Applebee's also garbage.
let's say in this hypothetical world, Applebee's has a 2 for $20 and $1 margaritas, and you and your beau are out at the Bees, as we like to call it, and you're just
Bo, what is this? 1904?
yeah. In this scenario, this is
And why are you
1904.
assuming that an anti-vaxxer would enjoy eating at an establishment such as Applebee's?
Well, let's be
Applebee's
honest.
is patronized by almost exclusively anti-vaxxers.
right.
Because they already have terrible taste in
Let's
things. so
let's okay, hang on. Speaking of lawsuits,
They're used to diarrhea.
let's be
What is
real
the style?
let's be
They don't
real
care.
clear here that we are not experts on vaccines, dating, or Applebee's, and nothing that we say should be taken seriously. But
Well,
like,
we
what
do have
can-
taste, so we are experts on
can-
Applebee's.
I feel like you talked over my sick Applebee's burn.
Oh, would you have a sick Applebee's burn? What was it?
Sick anti-vaxxer burn.
What
I said
was it?
they're so used to diarrhea they don't care how they get it. They can get it from Applebee's or not.
Are anti-vaxxers prone to diarrhea? Is that a
Is it?
medical
Yeah, it's like a
fact?
thing. If you don't get vaccinated, you just poop yourself all the time. Is there a connection there?
I feel like
Actually,
I feel like if not,
proceed,
that's the viral
because
market
this is,
we
if
start.
this is true if this is information we need to get out there, because like I feel like that would be a very effective anti-vaxxer campaign. It's
Yeah,
like,
just tell them all like if you don't vaccinate, your
are you
kids gonna have diarrhea
anti-vax?
all the
You're
time.
gonna shit all the time.
actually, now that I'm thinking of it, I don't know that there are vaccines that for like pathogens that cause diarrhea.
Tighten up your
like commonly
butthole.
in humans. I'm thinking in terms of animals. We do give animals vaccines for pathogens that
Vaccines.
would cause diarrhea. So maybe my mindset, my knowledge set is just not. It's not
Well,
appropriate.
in fairness, if they can base their entire like campaign off of 100% fake bullshit, so can we, right? You heard it here
Sure.
first on the on the
If you
on
don't
the
get
Unstoppable
vaccines,
Pigeon
you're gonna get
podcast.
the
If
run.
you don't get the vaccine, you are dooming yourself to a life of inappropriate shitting. I don't even remember what my hot take on
Just,
this advice question was.
just
I
a
think
just
it
a
had-
life of just a
You're
life
taking
of
your bow to Applebee's is where you were.
it's just a life of Applebee's bathroom stalls and broken dreams.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I'm so distracted by the diarrhea discussion that we just launched into that I don't remember what my original point was. I assume it had something to do with trying to throw like positive comments about vaccines into daily conversation. Like you're in Applebee's and you're just like, boy, these I'm sure glad these dollar margaritas taste so good and that I'm not dying from them, because as we all know, vaccines make margaritas taste better.
I'm really glad that these chicken tenders, these chickens got vaccinated because it makes them way more tendery.
Can you?
Can you what?
Well, I was gonna say, can you just surprise vaccinate them, like when they're not looking, just stick them with a
Because
needle.
they're
and
an
be like, "Ah!"
anti-vaxxer, though.
You
But,
know
like,
a doctor?
Just because they're an anti-vaxxer doesn't mean they're not vaccinated.
Oh, I guess that's true.
Right, because maybe their parents were a little more smart.
Because anti-vaxxing wasn't much of a thing when most people who were that age
Yeah.
were gonna get vaccinated. I guess if it goes far enough that you have a kid with this person, you could just quietly get your
Right.
kid vaccinated. What's his face? The Australian comedian Jim Jeffries talks about how he got his kid secretly immunized. Because his girlfriend was an anti-vaxxer.
I think you should just see how it goes for now. I don't think at this point it is cause. 2 months in is still a little early. If otherwise things are going well with this individual and their new significant other, I think that they should, however, spend the next 6 to 8 months just like printing out scientific journals and articles and like news pieces which debunk anti-vax propaganda and like prove the safety and reliability of vaccines and the benefit of vaccines, and just like start leaving them in places around like the house and in their glove box in their significant other's car, and just places
bathroom,
where,
because apparently they're spending a lot of time in there.
yeah, because they do have we do
Because they will
know
have diarrhea.
that because they have not been vaccinated, they have terrible diarrhea all the time. So that is a way to get to them. You put pro-vaccine information in the bathroom, and because of their uncontrollable butthole expulsions, they will have no choice but to educate themselves properly. Well, I think we've pretty much solved it.
And if they start coughing, just get the fuck out of there.
Oh God. Okay.
well,
I think that was good.
I think we've saved a relationship. I think we've saved America.
And probably saved a future child.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what? So I think this is good. We've each done a bit. We've come up with some names for some things. We've not landed on a sign on for the podcast or a sign off as we get ready to wrap things up here. But this has been a delightful conversation. We've learned some things about each other and about ourselves, I think. And
vaccinate your kids.
And that's it. Where the Unstoppable Pigeon podcast is gonna have a sign off like Bob Barker from The Price is Right.
Spray and neuter your pets. Vaccinate your kids. And remember, folks, vaccinate your kids
and your animals
and
your pets.
Vaccinate everybody
and your friends.
Vaccinate everything,
whether they want it or not. Just you can probably get needles on the internet and just get real good at sneaking up on people and
build a syringe gun.
Yep. Oh, syringe gun's a good idea. So I think that's it. We're about an hour and 11 minutes here, so I think that's a delightful little episode. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next time on the freshly dubbed Unstoppable Pigeon podcast.
Toodles.
Toodles. There it is. That's the official sign off.
There.
Toodles.
Gotcha.